I hope you can join me today. I'm going to be talking with Amanda Luxmoore, and we're going to be talking about energy, dancing, healing, music, sparks, lots of different ideas about what actually music and dance can do for you.
Welcome to Healing Starts Here with Mary Greensmith and Dee Nicole. We believe that healing is bigger than any one modality, technique, or philosophy. It begins with curiosity. It begins with connection. It begins with a willingness to explore what is possible. Join us as we dive into conversations about energy, vitality, homeopathy, intuition, nature, personal growth, and the many ways people around the world are finding their path to greater well-being. Together, we'll meet fascinating guests, explore different healing traditions, and ask the questions that help us better understand ourselves and each other. Because every healing journey starts somewhere, and healing starts here.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so lovely to see you. I'm really pleased to be able to welcome Amanda Luxmoore. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mary. I'm very happy to be here chatting with you today.
And I'm really excited because this is at the very, very beginning of our new podcast, Healing Starts Here. And immediately when my co-partner said, this is what we're going to call it, I thought I need to get Amanda on here just to talk to me about music, about noise, about dance, about movement relating to health. So can you begin by telling me a little bit about you and what you do and why you do it?
Absolutely, yeah, I'm really happy to. I love to move, I love to dance, and I love music. So you've mentioned all of those things already. And in recent years, I've built a business up around using those things and also being out in the outdoors with those things sometimes to help other people really to connect in with themselves and to find that feeling of home within themselves. And I think music, dance, and the elements, the landscape are all ways that we can do that. We can come home to ourselves. So I run a business hosting dance classes and workshops and coaching people. And movement is really key in all of that because movement is a really therapeutic way to bring ourselves back into the body and to really connect in with that sensation of aliveness that a lot of us seek.
So tell me why. Tell me what happens. What happens to our body when we hear a tune? Why do we want to dance? And yeah, what is going on?
There's something in the vibration, the resonance. It's all about energy. When we hear a sound or when we hear sounds put together in what we would call music, something happens in the body that's really quite primal. Sound being something universal, that connects us back to this feeling of something really ancient within us. So when we get sound put together in a particular way that we would label as music, it activates different parts of our memories, the stories we hold in our bodies, our feelings, any unprocessed emotions, anything that wants to come to life in us, and really also our passions and that sense of aliveness in us. So it depends what the sounds are, it depends what the music is, but it's a kind of a doorway in to connecting with our authentic selves.
So explain a little bit more about what you mean by authentic self. Where does our authentic self come from? What is it? And why do we want to connect with it?
For me, the authentic self is something that's really real. So culturally, particularly in the modern world, there's so many things around that disconnect us from that sense of authenticity, just because of the way life is. We don't have to discuss all of that here and now, but the modern life is fragmenting in so many ways. It compartmentalizes aspects of life, but also aspects of ourselves, so that we can function. And I believe there's a more natural way of being. And so my journey has been for myself, and now in helping others, in bringing people more in line with that authentic self. So the authentic self for me is the part of us that comes alive when we're really connecting with our inner truth. And there's different ways we can do that, but moving the body can bring us into that state. So the authentic self is something we get to through different means, but essentially we get to that authentic self through coming into a more natural state of being. And that natural state of being is different things for different people, but there are some modalities that kind of work across the board for almost everyone. And because, to my mind, those things are our birthright. So sound, movement, being out in the fresh air, seeing mountains or lakes or the sea or natural landscapes, that's all of those things have always been part of our natural way of being. So the work that I do is helping people come back into that state. So the authentic self is something that we can access amazingly, even if it's just for small snippets of time, through something like a dance class. It might just be an hour.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about overhauling your whole life or overhauling it all overnight or anything like that. There's nothing to change or fix. It's more of a returning home to that natural state. And there's a part of us, I believe, that is so alive and so full of life and so passionate, and it's a way of accessing that. Our authenticity holds all of those things and much more. And sometimes we just need a little doorway in, just a little peek even, and that can set something in motion. So that I kind of see, for me, dance is an activator, and music is an activator. It opens a door into onto a path of truth, which, I'll be honest, in moments can be really frightening. It's not always easy, because sometimes when we open that door to the path of truth, we having to sort of work through some things, and some might use the word healing, may want to heal. But the magic of dance and of music and of being out in the fresh air is that we don't have to use the conscious mind. We don't have to use words. We can just be with it.
Yeah, because quite often, if you don't dance very often and then you get the opportunity to dance, you lose yourself. You forget everything else around you, and you're just in that moment.
Yeah, which is just, for me, that is just magic that can happen. And you're right, Mary. I think when people dance, they can both simultaneously almost completely lose themselves and completely find themselves, which is magical, because we kind of need both. The losing ourselves is when we step out of the egoic mind, and we're more working in a more somatic way, which is through the body and being aware of sensations in the body, which is what happens when we take part in any kind of embodied movement or somatic movement. So intentional dance, which allows us to step into a place of freedom and flow through the dance, but doesn't necessarily, and is guided, but doesn't necessarily mean listening to someone giving instructions. It's a way to drop in to a truth. So there's a structure there for people to follow, but it's not really super well defined. There's a structure to give some level of comfort as people step in. But when we work somatically and we dance in that way, where we're really connected into the feelings and the stories in the body as we move, then energy shifts. And it's not rocket science as far as I'm concerned. When you move, energy moves and emotions shift and things can change. It's so simple in many ways, which I love, the simplicity of it. It's magical and really simple in some respects.
Yeah, it is. Why does dance or dancing make you feel happy?
So it makes me feel happy because I feel so myself when I dance. So I think that's probably true for a lot of other people as well. It brings us into that state of, like you mentioned, when you lose yourself and you find yourself, it's like a little aha moment when a light bulb goes on and goes, oh, there I am. The part of me that I've perhaps been either suppressing or not allowing to live fully, kind of, even if it just comes in for a moment, there's a little light bulb moment where something goes, ah. But even more than that, just on a biological level, you know, dancing is movement. It creates endorphins. You know, it's happy hormones are created when we move, and so we've got biology on our side in that respect. It's not all deep dive soul work. It doesn't have to be really deep stuff. It can just be moving. And you perhaps know, Mary, if you've got a favourite band or a favourite song, or if you put that on, or better still, if you get to listen to it live, which, you know, shifts the vibration that bit further as far as I'm concerned, something really just wonderful can happen in the body, in the brain, when just hearing it. And then if you imagine the next layer is to be moving to that sound, it's a double the magic.
Yeah, it is really, isn't it? Because also it's such a freedom, isn't it? Because so much in our lives are restricting. You have to do this, you have to behave this way, you have to do this, you have to, you know, and our expectations of other people does not always pan out how we're expecting things to go. And yet when you get involved with dancing, you're hearing music, you're suddenly there and you're allowed to be you. It's so freeing.
It's freeing, and I love that word. That's the word that I often use when I'm writing or communicating with people about my work. Is that element of freedom, and it's a freedom in the body, but it's beyond that as well, because that freedom creates a connection to not only our bodies but our inner world as well, and to the people around us, potentially if we're dancing in a group, and to the space we're in. And if we're outdoors, that's a connection to the grass and the trees and whatever we see. And it's multi-layered. So it's freedom from so many directions. And that's one of the reasons that through my work, I just love to encourage people to move, because of that sense of freedom that's on offer from it. Before you even step into what else can it do, if you want to do deep dive work, where can this take me, how can this help me heal, or whatever your language is around that, moving is freedom, and that freeing feeling opens the doors.
Amanda, tell me, has music and dance helped you in your life, and have you seen it help other people in their lives?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I talk about dance, just to be really, really clear, I'm not always talking about structured dance or choreographed dance. I teach some classes where we do have choreography, but I also teach classes which are much more free, that have that guided element to them. But there's something in the dance that happens in the dance space, whether it's structured or not, that has really just helped me land home in myself. And I've been dancing for years. I've been dancing not since childhood. When I was a child, I did a lot of gymnastics, so I was often in my body. But that was interesting. That was a very, very much more structured way of being. Yeah. And so probably in my 20s was the first time that I started dancing regularly, and it was often Latin dance because that's really joyful and celebratory. And so there was some structure there. But dancing, whether through the Latin dance or later through these really deep somatic practices and this guided dance, which I do now, I've found a truth within myself and in my life, and I've seen other people in classes I've attended, in classes that I've hosted, workshops, coaching spaces. I've seen the impact that it can have on people just in that moment, but also thereafter. So usually there's a little spark, there's something that really kind of sets in motion, and then in the days and weeks that follow, what the dancing does is it really settles in the body, and it brings the stories that people are carrying to life in a way that means that they can process that, and also just feel joy regularly. If you dance regularly like I do, and like some of the people I work with, there's this reset as well. There's a joy, but there's this sense of recalibration and reset that happens, once a week or twice a week or however often it is people choose to dance. And to be really clear as well, dancing doesn't have to happen in a facilitated space. You can dance whenever you like, wherever you like, and you can do it in the aisles in the supermarket. There's a saying that that I heard is, if people do want me to dance in the supermarket, why do they play music? You don't have to wait for someone like me to stand in front of you in a group and say, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. Better still, start that journey on your own at home or in the garden or in a green space, and then join in with people as well. It's like dancing's for every day as far as I'm concerned, and it doesn't have to be structured, and it doesn't have to be I'm always really clear in my classes that this is not a fitness routine, that dance is not, it can help us be in a healthier, fitter body, but for me, that's not what's at the core of dance. Dance is freedom of expression, it's that authentic expression, it's truths coming through the body. And in a very similar way, music, you asked about music, whereas dance is like a visual expression of energy and a feeling, music and sound is the auditory, it's the vibration, the resonance, and music's been part of my life forever, since I was really small. I've always loved music because it's brought me back to myself. So I really hope that if people aren't already dancing or using music as a bit of a tonic, that they can find little moments to try it out, and just see where it takes them.
Yeah.
It's a kind of medicine.
Exactly. And just thinking about it, actually, seeing somebody dance in the supermarket is going to make you smile, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to make everybody who's passing smile and feel happy. Why is that? What's happening there?
Yeah, precisely. And what it also makes me think of is how there's a real playfulness about that as well, and about just moving in a joyful way, and we see it a lot in our young people and young children especially, and that playfulness is something we can take or reignite in adulthood if we've lost it a little bit, if we've lost touch with it. It's not that it's not there. When we look at how children move and act, and with that lack of concern for what anyone might think in moments, they haven't developed that sense of oh dear, should I be doing this? And so what dance and music does is invites us back into that space where we can just play with what might be true and real for us, and just have fun with it too.
And of course, dance is not a new thing, is it?
No.
I mean, where do we go back to? Where's the beginning of dance? Was there ever a beginning? Has it always been?
I think whatever, well, I was going to say, wherever there's been people, there's been dance. But you could, this is a really good signpost into the third aspect of what I'm so passionate about, is being in the outdoors and in the elements and in natural landscapes. And we could say, if you watch animals in their natural habitat, if you watch birds and butterflies, and they're all dancing. It's a dance of life, it's source energy coming to life. It's something really primal in a way. So I think dance has always been around, or I like to think it anyway, because there's a kind of, the universe is one big dance in its own right. And in a lot of traditional cultures around the world that are different to a lot of modern cultures, dance is just part of everyday life, and it's a way of communicating, it's a way of expressing, it's a way of working through issues and communities. It's life force energy. It's and it's just an undeniable truth that it's, for me, that it's a birthright. And in modern culture, often dance and other kinds of movement and music and sound has been treated as something that's just for people who do it well, or just for people who perform, or who maybe, I don't know, could make money from what they do, that it wouldn't be valued if you can't earn a living from it. And actually, you're right. I think you're right when you say, Mary, that maybe dance has just always been there. Where did it begin? I think it's always been there, and that's a reason in and of itself, if you believe in living a natural, healthy life where you're living in full aliveness, to consider it as a modality that might help.
Yeah, and it might also be thought of perhaps as the original medicine. Yeah, because if it's been around since humans have been around, and of course we see the animals playing, we see the animals, jumping in the air, and filling themselves with energy. So was it the very first way that people could fill themselves with those endorphins that obviously stimulate self-healing? It's an amazing thought, isn't it?
It is, and dance, movement, the sound, the music, being in the fresh airs and the outdoors, all of that are really key. And it's really useful then to think, if that's the case, what else was there? What else was happening in that sort of environment that did that too? And then it brings in all these other possibilities as well, is that, you don't have to, there's so many ways that you can feel at your most alive and feel that kind of magic and feel that that connection to something so ancient or primitive, that if you're interested in that, then music, dance, being in the outdoors. And there's so many other things. I'm sure you work with other practitioners who bring those things as well.
Yes, yeah. And just from what was springing to mind when you were saying that, was thinking, well, yes, swimming in a really cold sea, it just fills you with electric sparks, really, doesn't it? Sparks of energy that is like nothing else. And it doesn't have to be anything there. And then you said, music, and actually just listening to music, it reaches the parts which, other things just don't reach.
Don't reach. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key, and this is what I would always encourage in the clients and the participants I work with, the key is to really take the time, in a supported way, if you prefer it, to tune in, always to tune in to the wisdom of the body, but to tune into which little things are your little sparks. Because I think there are certain things that are our birthright and that are probably true for most people, but we're all individuals, and finding your little spark and the thing that brings you back into that hidden part of yourself and then allows you to expand outwards from that. It's really important to find that. And sometimes in life, people either don't have the chance or the time, or are just not able to give themselves that moment. And I would say if you can do that by whatever means, then stepping onto a path of well-being and staying on it is so much more likely. And it doesn't have to be big fancy stuff, you know. You can do big fancy stuff to help with your well-being, but sometimes it's more simple.
I just find it so amazing. And well, just remind me, I know that you live in a beautiful part of England, northern England, in the Lake District. Do you help people locally? Do you work with people online? Can people experience learning to or rediscovering themselves through dance with you?
Absolutely. If you're living in Cumbria or anywhere near Cumbria and the Lake District, I'm here for in-person classes, and we can dance together in a local space. I have regular classes and I host regular workshops throughout the year, seasonal workshops as well, some of them indoors, some of them outdoors, bringing in that really natural element, which is always an added bonus. In really beautiful spots as well. I work and collaborate with some local houses and estates that have got beautiful green spaces, and of course there are mountains, there are forests, there are fells, there are beaches, there are all of these open spaces that we can meet in as well. I teach some online classes, and I'm about to relaunch my online programs with a new signature program, which is an immersive 10-month journey, an enrichment journey, which involves movement, sound, embodiment work, life coaching, somatic practices. So it's a whole package. But I would encourage you, if you're keen to work with me online, to step into some of the pre-recorded courses that I'm offering from autumn onwards. And you can do that by joining the Life Flow Lounge, which is where all of those courses and workshops will be hosted. And you'll be able to find all those links from my website, which I'm sure you'll find a way to through this connection with Mary.
We will put those details down in the comments below, and so allow people to get in touch with you and find out a little bit more. Obviously, that's a whole new subject, isn't it? A 10 months real what can I call it? Immersive.
Yeah, deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why would people be joining that? What stage would they be at? Who is this? Has this been made for, created for?
The immersive program is for people who've already know that movement, dance, music and sound, and being in an outdoor setting is a point of inspiration for them. If you know that they're three of your little sparks, then you're going to get something out of the program for sure. It's a coaching program essentially, but it's coaching through movement. So it's for people who are looking to have support and guidance on their journey to dive a little bit deeper into some of the body work that can lead you that little bit further along your life path. But in particular, if you've got certain passions that you'd like to ignite and see coming to life in your life, then this is a really fantastic program for you, because I truly believe that when we move, we can process everything that happens day to day into some level, but there's also a part of us that is waiting to burst into life. And we can hold passions and within us for years and never quite allow the space for them to come to fruition. So if you're ready to really plant that seed and use movement and dance and music and sound and the natural world as inspiration to bring you along into that fruition stage, then that's what this program is for you. And you're really welcome to join in some of the shorter courses if you want to taste taste things, you know. You don't have to dive straight into an immersive course. I'd really advise people to do that, is take advantage of the short courses. I'm offering the Life Flow Lounge as a community space online, and it's actually free to join it. So you can join and access some content without signing up for everything or anything even. You know, you can see short videos that will give you an idea if it's for you. And I'm always really keen that it's a two-way street as well. I don't want everybody that I speak to jump in and say, yes, it's for me, because it's not for everybody. So it's like when you go for a job interview, you know, it's a two-way street, isn't it? You've got to know that that job is right for you just as much as an employer's got to know that you're right for the job, if you like. And I'd love to be a fit for some of you sitting out there today, but you can try that out online and see where you get to. But most of all, whether you join me in person or join me online or join a local practitioner to you, if it's not me, if you're dancing, if you're moving, if you're letting music and sound really lift you up, and if you're getting outdoors, perhaps even while you're doing some of that, then I think you're on an amazing journey and it's going to take you wonderful places regardless.
Amanda, that has just been so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and actually what you are creating. Because when we first set this up, I didn't actually realize that you had so much happening. So I am so pleased just to be able to sit here and talk with you. And what we obviously want to do is put all the links and everything so that people can contact you and find out a little bit more. But also, as you said, whatever you do, go out and find yourself and use energy and music and dance and the outdoors just to revitalize your system.
Yeah, and I love that word, revitalise. That's perfect. It's a perfect sort of finishing point. And thank you so much for having me here, Mary. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I hope that was inspiring for you. It was just so lovely talking to Amanda, and she's just so full of energy and vitality. But I hope it has inspired a spark for you to go and find a way to find yourself, to revitalize your spark, your energy, and be the very best you that you can be.
Thanks for being with us today on Healing Starts Here. We hope something from this conversation supports you on your journey toward greater well-being, connection, and vitality. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with someone you care about, and join us again for our next conversation. Until then, stay curious, stay open, and keep listening to what your heart, mind, and body are telling you, because healing starts here.